Hello again, folks. It's Stephen Daniels with DUI New Consultants. We're here today to make some more videos. Last night, I kind of had a epiphany, you might say. I thought instead of just posting videos of the surveillance videos of Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, I would try to educate not only defense attorneys but the general public in regards to the problems with the Florida's implied consent program, the alcohol testing program, the Intoxilyzer 8000, and the agency inspection or department inspections when the Intoxilizers have failures. How do you overcome these excuses that they use that allow them to keep failing machines online? So I came to the conclusion last night that I should do these educational videos because one of my company mottos is, as you can see, you can't undo what you don't know how to do. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to try to give you a little education on these things. And let me tell you a little bit about the Intoxilyzer 8000. There's three levels to this machine. There's a breath test operator level, there's an HC inspector level, and then there's the FDLE department inspector level. The breath test operator level is not password protected. All you do is turn the machine on, swipe your driver's license, enter your law enforcement HC number, and wait 20 minutes to tell the person to blow. But when you conduct an HC inspection or FDLE department inspection, these are password protected areas. The general public doesn't know this, but these machines are not only allowed a margin of error, but they're allowed to fail one time, and they're allowed to retest these machines. And who do you have to thank for that? You have your Florida state legislators to thank for that. They gave the Florida Department of Law Enforcement the authority to promulgate their own rules. Again, these opinions that I'm going to give you are my opinions. I believe that FDLE intentionally designed these rules to allow them to keep these failing machines online, and the reason for that is it cuts down on the repair costs, sending these machines to repair. The other reason is that it's purely speculative, the reasons that they use. They proffer these machines as scientific, reliable, and accurate, yet you really can't. There's no way they can do that when they strip away any scientific and accurate foundation. And what I mean by that is when they allow these people to retest these machines and put in these bogus excuses. And how do we? How are you supposed to verify that an excuse that they changed an O-ring or the simulator hose was loose if there's no video? So that's the problem with our implied consent program, the alcohol testing program, not only in Florida but nationwide. I believe that you can have the best machine in the world, but unless you have the integrity of the people conducting the tests and transparency, the results from that machine and the results should not be given any type of scientific credibility or accuracy. And then the state shouldn't be allowed to assume the presumption of impairment based on the results from that machine. Clearly, when the alcohol program manager and FDLE design a program that intentionally strips away any scientific foundation of any testing format. So with that being said, we're here today to talk about, again, Department Inspector Don Suereth, and the HC Inspector, Ms. Cheryl Peacock for the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. I had a client back in 2008 that got a DUI in Pinellas County. He had consumed a couple of drinks late at night, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then he wanted to get breath tested at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. I was like, there's no way he could be blowing that. There's something wrong with the machine. So basically, when I get a client like that, I research everybody. So the first thing I did was investigate and research the machine, and then the HC inspector and the breath test operator. I went down and pulled their personnel files, their hiring packet, the disciplinary file, and the performance file. On the HC inspector, what I found was this is a copy from her disciplinary file, and her supervisor wrote this out. And the highlighted area is what I'm going to read to you. It says, on December 12, 2007, I was informed by the FDLE Tampa Bay Regional Breath Testing Inspector, that would be Don Suereth, that he had an opportunity to witness BTO, that's a breath test operator, Peacock testifying in court proceeding. During this testimony, he noted that Peacock provided inaccurate information to the court. Did I just read that right? Inaccurate information to the court? I read that right, folks. She provided inaccurate information to the court. Now, I didn't go back and review that court. I mean, there's no way of knowing what case that was, but you wonder if the defense attorney caught that, or if anybody caught that, because, again, that's another reason why you should take an Intoxilyzer course, in my opinion, if you're a defense attorney, because you can't undo what you don't know how to do. So if she offered inaccurate testimony, you didn't catch it, but yet you've got a department inspector sitting back in your back, and he's probably chuckling, going, oh, we got one over on them this time. This evaluation goes on to say, I have also been informed that the state attorney's office that Peacock is uncomfortable on the stand while testifying and could benefit from additional training. As a result of this information coming to light, Peacock will receive additional in-house training and testimony delivery. So think about this, guys. What's that saying? That's saying that they're going to load her lips. They're going to tell her what to say when these machines fail, what to say when the defense attorney asks her a question. And if you think that's a stretch, it's not. All you need to go is to FDLE's website and pull up the curriculum for the breath test operator and the HC inspector. At the very end of that training curriculum, there's actually a section that tells you how to testify. They give you these failing testing scenarios, and they give you the canned answers they want you to tell a court. So the defense attorneys need to look at that and make sure that they have that manual with them. So when they get a response like that, they can pull a manual out and say, well, you just read that word for word, didn't you? Let's get on to the machine that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about machine Pinellas County Intoxilyzer 888, and it was 2008. If you notice the first two tests up here, there should be one login for each test, and there is. Back in 2007 and 2008, when FDLE fired the department inspector, I mean, we first started looking at these records that were online. We started noticing there were multiple logins, 10, 15, 20 logins, and we could only find one or two places that they went. So that raised some red flags. Is like we were saying, they're deleting tests, and lo and behold, the department inspector had a little go-in, I guess, a little showdown with some of the HC inspectors underneath her. One thing led to another. Somebody dropped a dime on her and basically told some other people that she was telling them, listen, if you got a problem with your machine, just turn it off. It deletes the whole test. Nobody ever know. So they wound up terminating her because of that. And after that scenario went around and everyone was aware that Sandra Vega got terminated, then it went around like wildfire. Don't do that anymore. Don't log in. So what did they start doing? They started coming up with these fake excuses. And that's the hard thing. That's what I uncovered with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, that the HC inspector down there was putting bogus excuses down that would allow her to keep on testing the machine. So in theory, or basically, she left a failing machine online. That's why I'm here to talk to you today about you can still use the records to find out that these are bogus excuses, but you got to incorporate it with emails and some other research. So what we have here is I'm going to show you again. There's the logins. There's two logins. The first one's on 115 by Cheryl Peacock. There's the test. She logs in at 19:11:40, and then she completes the test. She completes the test at was it 1957. If you notice, there's nothing in the comment section, and if you look at the results, there's no retest. So that test was perfect. Then you look at the second test. The second test is 22:09:41 login, and then here's the second one. She completes that at 22:50:08. Again, there's her name. There's the machine 888, and as you can see, there's no testing. There's no failures. No comments. Now we get to the juicy part. Guess what? It's my opinion that Don Suereth, and this is why his testimony should be doubted as far as truth and veracity. Any excuse that he puts down is not credible. As you notice here, there's another login by Don Suereth in pink. He logs in at 10:05. Guys, I couldn't find where he went. There's no testing requirement for it. So he logs in and there's no test result. The problem, again, one of the problems with this is there are other states that have sequential numbering systems that anytime you log into a password protected area, there's a sequential number assigned to that, and there better be a test result. That's what I'm talking about. FDLE has intentionally designed this machine to where that allows their inspectors and department inspectors to put down fraudulent excuses. Now let's look at the next login. The next login is by Don Suereth at 11:02. Now we're going to get to his inspection. You can see the one that I got in pink that I said was deleted. The next login's 11:02. He completes the test at 13:32, so about an hour and a half later. But now if you notice over here, the testing failure, the first one, he's got a testing failure of 0.189. And then if you look at the second one, now all of a sudden it's within tolerance. It's a 0.191. Guys, on a 2.0 reference solution, in the margin of error, you need to read that machine needs to read the solution between a 0.190 and a 0.210. If it's outside of that, then they're allowed to retest and they got to put an excuse in. So let's get to that. Here's Don Suereth's excuse. Okay, the machine generates control outside of tolerance in small caps. When the inspector types in his remark column, it's in all caps. It says, calibration inlet O-ring replaced, Peacock. So here we have a 2.0 testing sequence. The department inspector, who's supposed to know it all, puts down that he changed the O-ring. Now think about this. There's a law enforcement agency here that's getting rid of evidence. the defense attorneys, a lot of people don't pick up on this, but why wouldn't he be keeping that O-ring to present in court? I mean, you keep a bullet if it was a bullet or a blood stain or something, but here they're claiming that an O-ring was replaced and they don't proffer that or keep that evidence. Now let's look at his field note that he completed immediately after that. As you can see, it's 888. Sorry, I'm talking fast, but I got to wrap up this video here in a couple minutes. There's his signature on the bottom, and there's the date over here. Let me read. It says, although the instrument complied with FDLE Chapter 11D after changing the calibration inlet O-ring, I recommend taking the instrument offline and sending it to repair for a calibration check, as the results are, although with intolerance, still low. So here's a department inspector, again, a fraudulent excuse, a speculative excuse. He doesn't know why this machine failed. And again, when these machines fail, it's never the machine. It's the simulator, it's the solution, it's the loose connections. You know, something was wrong, but that magical machine is never fail. And here's proof, guys. Let me show you. This is an email, and one of my clients was going to trial. I did a public records request for these emails, so I found the needle in the haystack. If you look at this here, there's an email from Cheryl Peacock, and let me read that to you. It says, Don, after you perform your department inspections on these two instruments, you recommend they go to EES for warranty checkups before the warranty is expired. You delivered the instruments to EES for me. And those instruments, if you look in the subject line, the instruments are 890 and 1259. Then Don Suereth replies back in the middle of the page here, thanks, Cheryl. What about 888? Then Cheryl replies, as you can see, and this is April 8th or April 9th. Here's 888. Cheryl replies, 888 was also sent to EES, that's Enforcement Electronics, the repair facility, for warranty checkup, and you delivered it to for me on 2/27/08. When J. Logue had a chance to look at it, he discovered it had been flooded. Flooded, guys. J. Logue is the repair tech for Enforcement Electronics. So, where's that at? Here it is. I got 3 minutes left. So if you notice, I can't do this in reverse. I got to do everything in reverse. If you notice, Don Suereth is there, 226. The next login is by J. Logue on 825. So that machine was delivered on 227 and sat in the repair facility until 825 until he looked at it. Based on that email, then, the attorney did a subpoena ducis tecum, and here's the repair records from CMI. Okay. And there's machine 888. 888, the machine, there's a date, 227, they received it, machine 888. And then down here, there's highlighted, like over here, their IRR is placed. And here's what he did to it. And where's the date? Okay, there's a date right there. Here it is, 8/26. Let me read what this says. It says, found water spots on the cell and the IR source. And he also replaced the infrared source. Now, the infrared source was what's involved in the analytical process. So here you got a department inspector saying it was the O-ring. And then you got the repair guy going, no. There's water spots on the sample chamber and on the IR source, and he replaced it. It gets better, folks. You wonder why you really got to do your homework when you got a client going to trial. Because now I did a public records request. After we got that, I did another public records request for some more emails. And Cheryl Peacock gets a little nervous. And obviously the information officer that I made my public records request must have informed her, hey, they're looking at your stuff. What do you got? Here's the email from Cheryl Peacock now. And as you can see, that's on May 8th, a month after the last email. And it's to Don Suereth. It says, Don, I remember you telling me that the defense can now retrieve the emails between us. Is there a way I can retrieve them as well? Up to now, I haven't been keeping them or making a copy for myself, and I need to refresh my memory about something that occurred in January that you and I had talked about in emails. I wonder what that was. No documentation of it. And then Don Suereth replies in the middle here. He replies on May 8th. A couple hours after she emails, and they must ask for public records requests. I keep the pertinent ones. Is there something specific you're thinking about? And then here's what she replies. This is the scary part. Right here, guys. She basically says, no, nothing specific, just trying to stay a little ahead of the defense game. What the hell is that supposed to mean? You're a law enforcement officer. You either present the evidence and it's solid evidence, or it's not. It's not a game. This isn't a game. You do your job. You do it well. There should be no refute to your evidence. So guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is the problems with the implied consent program. This is why we need mandatory videotaping of subject breath tests and HC inspections. This is Stephen Daniels with DUI and New Consultants. Look for more videos.